You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 10.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. We begin with the Tuscaloosa County school system's financial crisis. System leaders say part of the problem is a direct result of the distribution of tax revenue. Currently, the county and city schools split the revenue right down the middle, but where the inequities lie is in the funding per capita. So what does all this mean, and how does it affect your children? WVUA's Travis Leader picks up our story from there.
As a parent, I haven't even seen it as much as since I've been on the board and realized that the financial straits that we are in are dire.
But there may be an underlying reason to the Tuscaloosa County Schools' financial crisis.
The County Commission has been very supportive of us, but the City Council does give the City Board of Education $3.1 million a year, and we get $22,000.
The City School Board and the County School Board may split the sales tax 50-50, but Connors says that's hardly equal.
Because they have 10,000 students and we have 18,000 students, that is a much smaller per child revenue.
According to Connor, each county student receives $700 compared to the city's $3,000 per child in revenue. And some in the county schools say they don't see the gap closing.
One answer may be that most people don't realize that this inequity exists. It's going to be hard for the city to say, okay, we don't want this money anymore, because, you know, they want to take care of their students.
Connor says Tuscaloosa County residents may have to bite the bullet and pay more taxes.
It depends on whether or not the voters in Tuscaloosa County would like to improve the quality of education in the Tuscaloosa County school system. If the answer to that is yes, then we need more revenues.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Travis Leader, WVUA News.
And Connor says with the current financial situation, an incoming superintendent will not be able to begin new programs without cutting other programs out of the budget. We'll have more on the county schools superintendent search in just a moment. But first, tonight's Home Team Money Watch. Dozens of new jobs on the way to West Alabama. ZF Industries' Axle Systems plant is launching a new business with Mercedes-Benz. Officials say this could create around 85 new jobs. This project represents $14.6 million in investments for the facility and expansion of equipment. ZF Marketing and Communications Manager Brian Johnson says this milestone is only possible because of the diligent employees here in Alabama.
You know, we're able to make this announcement due to the hard work of our employees. You know, there's a lot of long-standing relationship with our customer, and the relationship we've had with our customer has enabled us to build world-class axles for their world-class vehicles.
And ZF is an automotive supplier for driveline and chassis. An official announcement is expected tomorrow. In tonight's Home Team Crime Watch, a fight at a local school ends in 2 arrests. According to Tuscaloosa City School spokesperson Leslie Brewington, 2 Bryant High School females got into a fight this afternoon. According to Brewington, it happened during the first lunch period. Brewington says 2 females attacked each other, and once school officials couldn't break it up, a school resource officer used pepper spray, which caused the lunchroom to be evacuated. According to Sergeant Brent Blankney with the Tuscaloosa Police Department, both the females were arrested for disorderly conduct. Brewington says everyone at Bryant was able to go back into the lunchroom and finish their meals. The search continues for a new superintendent of the Tuscaloosa County school system. The list for the interim superintendent to replace current superintendent Dr. Frank Costanzo has been narrowed down to 3 candidates. The candidates chosen will take the place of Costanzo in March when he retires. According to Reverend Schmitz Moore of the Tuscaloosa County School Board, the list for the interim superintendent has dwindled down to Mr. Danny Butler of Moundville, Dr. Neil Heisch from Northport, and Dr. Carlton Smith from Vestavia. The board will interview the 3 candidates on February 16th. As far as long-term, the county board chose 2 search firms to help find a candidate. The 2 firms are the Alabama Association of School Boards and BWP and Associates. One will cost $8,500 plus expenses, while the other has $15,000 plus expenses. Reverend Moore says he hopes the firms will help find qualified candidates not only from Alabama, but from all over the Southeast.
We're not against a candidate coming from outside of the region. We just believe that we will be able to find a qualified person within the region. If someone were to show up outside of the region, we would not be against that. But we believe that within the region, we'll be able to find a strong candidate for superintendent.
And the interim superintendent is expected to stay for at least 6 months, but the board does not anticipate the interim will will be considered for a permanent position. In other education news, President Obama has decided to free 10 states from the strict requirements of former President Bush's No Child Left Behind law. Now, the No Child Left Behind Act was put into place to have all students proficient in reading and math by the year 2014. Alabama was not one of those states, but it could soon be on that list. WVUA talked with state and local education leaders to see where they stand on the issue. According to Tuscaloosa County Superintendent Dr. Frank Costanzo, the No Child Left Behind Act should be done away with. Costanzo said you cannot make all students learn at the same level. Each student learns at their own pace. State Superintendent of Education Dr. Thomas Bice told WVUA Alabama is in the process of creating its own version of a waiver request. Bice said Alabama is one of 10 states working together to create a different type of waiver.
We're going to craft a waiver, but we're going to do it on our terms, not the terms of the U.S. Department of Education, because to do so would mean that we would have to change some of the more successful reforms that we have going, and we don't want to do that.
Dr. Bice told WVUA the goal is to have the waiver ready by the summer. The 10 states who have received waivers are Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. And WVUA is covering Montgomery, where the Alabama House has passed the first bill of the 2012 legislative session. The House voted today to pass a bill that changed the name of the state's industry recruitment agency from the Alabama Development Office to the Department of Commerce. It was part of a package of economic development bills the House plans to work on in the early days of the session. The bill passed the House 94-1. And the House also passed bills to offer incentives to companies in aircraft maintenance, coal mining businesses, and data processing companies. Some Democratic legislatures and the Alabama Education Association have offered opposition, saying the bills take away tax dollars earmarked for education are not guaranteed to create jobs. And a proposal passed by the state Senate would allow cyclists to signal a right turn with the right hand, something state law currently does not permit. Currently, cyclists follow the same rules of the roads as automobiles. When possible, if a car has no turn signal, the driver must use their left hand out of the window to indicate a turn. Making the signals easier to understand directly relates to cyclist safety.
Well, it's important to know that the cyclists are there because it is really easy to disrupt the path that the cyclist is taking with a vehicle. And if there is an altercation between the motor vehicle and the bicycle, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the cyclist who ends up in the hospital.
The bill by Tuscaloosa Republican Senator Gerald Allen passed 24-0. Some senators did question whether the measure is necessary. It still must pass the House and be signed by the governor to become law. Alabama Attorney General Luther Strange says a $25 billion settlement involving the country's 5 largest mortgage lenders over foreclosure abuses provided much-needed relief to his Alabama borrowers. Under the agreement, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and Ally Financial will reduce loans for nearly 1 million households. They will also send checks of $2,000 to about 750,000 Americans who were improperly foreclosed upon. Strange said Alabama's estimated share of the settlement is valued at about $106 million. The gambling corruption retrial. In the gambling corruption retrial, defense attorneys say there could not have been a conspiracy because some of the defendants didn't meet until they were arrested. An attorney for Victory Land Casino owner Milton McGregor says the only crooks are the 3 who have pleaded guilty. They are casino developer Ronnie Gilly and lobbyists Gerard Massey and Jennifer Pouncey. An attorney for the former Senator Larry Means told jurors the person offering bribes can be guilty while the other person not guilty. McGregor and 5 others are on trial in federal court in Montgomery, accused of buying and selling votes for pro-gambling legislation. EWTN Global Catholic Network in Alabama has filed suit against the Obama administration. At issue, the new health care law requirement of employers and insurers to cover birth control. Network President Michael Warsaw says the lawsuit is meant to defend Catholics and others from being forced to fund such measures. Warsaw says EWTN is being forced to use donors' contributions to pay for morally objectionable health services, including contraception, sterilization, and abortion drugs. A bill introduced into the Mississippi House is aiming to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico along the Mississippi borders. Representative Steve Holland introduced House Bill 150, which would change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now, the bill aims to mock newly elected Governor Phil Bryant's support of legislation to allow the state to crack down on immigration. Representative Holland told WVUA this was, quote, a Spam-a-lot bill of 2012, and adds it was meant as a joke to poke fun at the Republican-run House in Mississippi.